I got surprised by the time, but I'm here. Hey, happy Monday. We're live. It is 11 a.m. Monday, May 12th, and I'm excited to be here. I've got a fun one for you today. I already dropped my word. More coffee. Okay. Late start today. Let me tell you three things I learned in the Army that I use in business every day. And you're like, what? How's this applicable? Trust me, it is. This is going to be a colorful one. Few people are aware of my backstory and military service, where I served in the U.S. Army 91 through 94 for 4 years active. And so this time, May 12th, at this time, 34 years ago, I was in the middle, dead center of U.S. Army basic training. And it's quite an experience, as you can imagine. And if you've been through it, cool. But I did not know going in, you carry a lot of things when you're heading into basic training. A lot of it is anxiety and fear. You've seen Full Metal Jacket and all these scary movies about how hard basic training is. And it is hard. But also, you don't really know what you're getting into. And there isn't a ton of clarity around it intentionally. So when I got there, I had not anticipated how funny drill instructors are and how full of life advice they are. So a drill instructor or a drill sergeant, whatever you call them, they teach the platoon or the company unit that's going through training together, a group of young recruits and privates. And I had no idea going in that there are plenty of opportunities for them to be absolutely hilarious. Sometimes it's at our expense. Like, it might be funny that they were limited in how many push-ups they could make us do if we screwed something up. But they could leave us in what they call the front-leaning rest position for 30 minutes. So they would do that, or other things as well. So they will hit you with the brim of their hat across the brow, the nose, boom, 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 like a chicken. Boom, boom, boom. They would also do things like quiz you or make jokes about the things they were going to quiz you on based on what you had learned in the classroom, because half of it is in the classroom. Didn't see that coming either. And it's interesting, the things you learn, because there's a lot on the line, not just to get through the training well and do a great job at that, but also in expectations from the standpoint of military discipline and the mission that you're being trained to do, right? Which is essentially fight and die. So it's interesting, the life lessons and the context around those. And there are three that stick with me today that I still use. You want to be cautious with these. You don't want to throw these out to people who are like upset about something. That's not being a good friend. But the first one, let me just get right into it. The first one is, if you're not 5 minutes early, you're late. I know, you're like, duh. But hear me out. I'm extremely punctual. I've always been an early bird, so I don't know if my knack for punctuality, my passion for being punctual, which drives my partner, my spouse, Katie, nuts. But I don't know if it's driven by having been told or have this literally drilled into my head in the Army that if you're not 5 minutes early, you're late. It's about preparedness. It's the idea of being prepared. It's a sign of respect for the other people that we're about to interact with. And I hate being the person that shows up to a call on Zoom or whatever and is unprepared and everyone else has to wait, or you show up to a meeting late in the office with a coffee and you're not prepared and you got to shuffle through your papers. Like, I refuse to be that guy. I've always refused to be that guy. And I think about this a lot. So when someone's late, I don't say, oh, they're being disrespectful. I just think, okay, this is why I have this kind of mantra. Like, if you're not 5 minutes early, you're late. It's true. And it's not specific to the military. We've heard other people, like coaches in sports, yell at team members or suspend players on their team because they were late to a meeting or something. We've seen stories in ESPN about that for as long as there's been an ESPN. But in general, I do hold fast to that one, and I value it quite a bit. The second one is there are two kinds of people in this world, the quick and the dead. It reads pretty well on a coffee mug or a t-shirt, coffee mug, but it's kind of true in a lot of ways. It's not just about, certainly in an Army context, it makes perfect sense. You need to move with a quickness. They teach you how to do that. And if you're not quick, you might literally be dead. In a business sense, it's more about taking action now. That's how I apply it. Like, time erodes recollection, and the sooner we can move the value of context from the instance after it's been acquired and put it into a place that we can leverage for value in the business, like a note or into Notion or Trello, or to share with the team, like whatever it is, something we want to share with the client. It's important to traffic that information instantly or immediately, if at all possible. Like when you don't take great notes and you get back into a conversation or call with someone a week later and you're like, no, what were we talking about? Or I think this is what we mentioned. That's not great. It happens a lot, and it's actually probably fairly natural. But I think about two kinds of people in this world, the quick and the dead, in that context about taking action now. So if you have an idea, I put a note down if I have an idea. Immediately. Fire right into reminders or the Notes app, boom, 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 Trello, boom, 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 immediately. If I have an idea while I'm out driving, I might tell Siri, what's her face, to say, hey, make a reminder of this from in the shower. I have been known to get out soaking wet to take a note. Drip everywhere. So that's kind of what I think about, like, take action now. If someone needs an answer on something, give them the answer. If someone sends a message in and you think they're expecting a response, send the response. That's generally how I conduct myself with that. Sometimes in business, there's context for these things, and it might not always be the case that has to be done, but it's a great idea in general. What this is not, this second one, what was it? Oh yeah, two kinds of people in this world, the quick and the dead. This is not about competition. This is not about the traditional sense or the traditional idea of competition with other businesses or other companies or other freelancers. That our biggest competition is ourselves. Let's just focus on us. Let me just focus on me. I don't care about what other people are doing in my space, whether that's Squarespace or in the broader web design community. It doesn't really matter. We're not losing business to them, and they're not losing business to us. We can't serve all the businesses out there. Okay, I'm off that soapbox. The second one that this is not about is some obscene war analogy that you might get from a leader that really has no idea what they're talking about. We're in business. We're not at war. So I don't have a history of accepting war analogies in a business context at all. All right, the third one, can't means won't. Look, being in the military, you learn a lot about the extremes to which you can push yourself, both physically and mentally, especially what I would call post-exhaustion. But while we're capable of far more than we realize, and our limits extend way beyond our understanding, all of that is true. We literally can do that, and we don't know what we're capable of in either sense. This is about making a choice. And it's a big reason why I removed the word can't from my vocabulary pretty much entirely 30 years ago. It's about making a choice. It's about, if something is actually impossible, communicating that. If something is literally out of scope of what we're willing to do, not capable, willing to do, because we do have a business to run here, then that needs to be communicated. It's not, I can't do that. That's bordering on disrespect. It's asking another question or advancing the conversation in a way that it becomes obvious. Or you can literally say, I have a problem with this. Or I'm challenged by this in this way. Or my business doesn't do that kind of work. That's probably the most common instance. I had to tell somebody just last week, I can see how that would work for you, but that my business doesn't focus on that. We don't do that kind of work anymore. I know some people who do, and I'd like to send them your way. What I didn't say is we can't do that. Can't means won't. All right, I'm done. How about a bonus one? I got a bonus one. Ready? Yeah, 12 minutes. We got a few minutes. Bonus. And I've caught some hell for saying this out loud in front of business leaders in the past. They can suck it. Leadership by example. The idea is this, and this is what they choked on when I've said it. And it's just a couple people. They choked on the idea that a good leader doesn't ask someone to do something they're not willing to do themselves. Now, I respect that this does not scale well in a business sense, because the CEO of the company may have never run paid media campaigns and literally couldn't go in there and start running paid media campaigns. That doesn't mean they can't learn if they really wanted to understand it, and maybe a good CEO would have a general understanding of how it works, or at least find that understanding. I realize it doesn't scale, but it's a great thought exercise. And as a leader, and I've led a lot of teams, I've always asked myself, is this something I'm willing to do myself? Mostly because it's not impossible for a team member to let you down, to not deliver in the 11th hour. And we have a choice. We can jump in and fix and provide constructive feedback, or we can call whomever was the recipient of the deliverable and let them know that stuff ain't happening right now. The delivery's not coming. It's not possible because it's not completed, or it's not completed well enough. But you got to be careful with that call, because we don't want to throw a team member under the bus in front of the client. That's poor. That's not a good look. So when I talk about leadership by example, I try to exercise that in my business. I've done every aspect of this business. So when I ask somebody to do something, I've done it before. I'm capable of doing it. And if they don't deliver, I will take care of it. Now, you can't go redo someone's work. You have to talk to them first about how they missed an expectation. That is part of being a good leader. In a military sense, it's different, because it's a life or death situation potentially. So not everything. Look, if you're just breaking down tires on a military truck, this is not a life or death situation if you're in garrison. But it is about discipline, and it's about trust, and it's about people that you're interacting with, whether they're on your team or not, believing that you are both credible and capable. And those ideas go a long way. That's why I say it's an interesting I would call it great thought exercise to say, what is my understanding of this request? And am I the right person to give it? Am I the right person to judge the output? Am I the right person to deliver on it? Whatever side of that coin we're on. So leadership by example is one I really like. It's something I'm pretty passionate about living by. But I respect that every business sense, it doesn't scale. And that's okay. The idea isn't for there to be a one-to-one correlation between any of these 4 ideas. The idea is to have them as guiding principles. And listen, the whole reason why I brought up the military context and the fact that I learned these, really, they were drilled into my head by Army drill sergeants, is because, yeah, that was a very impactful point in my life and a very formative period of my life. But that's where I learned these. So when I think about them, or when I think about these 4 ideas, I guess it's 4 now. I started out with 3. In a context of running my business, they're sort of guiding principles or rules. Maybe, being 5 minutes early. If you're not 5 minutes early, you're late. Might not be a principle, but it is something that guides me. It is a rule that I try to live by, and I'm cool with it. The same thing with the quick and the dead. I think about that all the time because the drill sergeant who was yelling, yapping about that while we were all lined up, I remember it. I don't know how vividly because it was 34 years ago, but they hit you with the brim of the hat. And he's like, there's 2 God's people in this world, the quick and the dead. And you're like, yeah. So I remember it just because of the passion with which it was delivered. And I recall it being extremely funny. And I did not know the basic training was going to be as comedic as it was, because drill instructors say all kinds of crazy stuff to get you to laugh so they can get you to do push-ups. See, they're baiting you, right? It's entrapment. You're all lined up and you're stiff and you're like ready to do what, turn left, about face, whatever it is. And they're saying the dumbest shit on the planet so that you giggle so they can make you do push-ups. They're just teaching you discipline, like how to keep your stuff together. I get it. But I did not know going in that they were that funny. I also did not know I would come out of it with principles ingrained in me, right? So those were cool lessons learned, and they're principles that I live by. You have your own, I'm sure, and that's amazing. And if you want to tell me what those are, you can leave a comment. Follow, the whole shebang, right? You every YouTube video you watch pretty much says, give me a comment, like or follow. And we kind of have to. What I'd really like you to do is watch a video from the side, like off on the suggested videos. That would be amazing if you go watch one of those, because apparently Daddy YT really likes those. Who knew? All right, I'm done here. I hope those were fairly interesting. Thanks for watching. I will see you Wednesday, 11 a.m. right back here. We're going to have a great time again. I don't have a topic for that one yet, but I do have a long list of potential topics that I want to get to, so I'll probably pull from that. Or like this one. I'll be in the shower and I'll go, oh, you know what I've been meaning to talk about? And then boom, here we are. 19 minutes of blah, 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 blah. Ooh, things I learned when I was in the Army. And the wheel of content spins round and round. Have a great week. I'll see you Wednesday right here, 11 a.m. Eastern Time. I hope you just have a fantastic week.